Aargau Topsport und Tele+1 präsentieren die 21. Ausgabe vom Bademasters vom 20. bis zum 22. August. Die amtierende Olympiasiegerin bei den Damen, Anna Hasselborg aus Schweden, fordert die Herren-Weltelite heraus. Das hat es noch nie gegeben. Können die amtierenden Herren-Weltmeister aus Schweden ihren Titel verteidigen? Wie halten die Schweizer Top-Teams mit? Girling-Weltklasse der Damen und der Herren direkt vor der Haustür. Das Bademasters wird präsentiert vom Swisslos Sportfonds Aargau, V-Zug, dem Schweizer Haushaltsgerätehersteller und der Walde Immobilien AG, die Mensch und Immobilien zusammenbringen.
Good evening, Curling World. Welcome back to the 5th session today at the WCT Baden Masters event. This is the first event of the WCT calendar for the season 21 to 22. So welcome back to the virtual curling club room. My name is Lorna Rettig, and this evening we are going to be following Team Irene Shuri from Switzerland. They are playing Yellowstones here in our featured game, and they are playing Team Totzek from Germany, who are playing Redstones. So welcome to our evening game. We've had 4 rounds of curling already today. I hope you've been able to watch some of that. And we're just in the first end here of our featured game. We were a little bit late starting. As we said, it's a very tight schedule. There are 6 draws. So we're starting at 8 o'clock this morning, and the last draw begins at 9 o'clock this evening. It's a long day for everyone. All the teams have got 3 games today. So we haven't missed anything. We're still in the first end. And as you can see from the scoreboard behind there, Team Totzek has last stone in this first end by way of having a better draw shot challenge. Last shot draw, both teams did that at the end of their previous round, and whoever had the better last shot draw, they end up with last stone, the hammer, in this first end. So it looks like that was Team Totzek from Germany. So we're starting off with Yellowstones with Irene Shuri's team. There we are. Our umpire has helpfully put the stone colours on, because actually the little zeros are the wrong colours by the look of it. Quite conservative start to this first end. I'm not sure if that was on purpose, or maybe if a couple of the early stones just slipped into the house rather than being guards, but not to worry. Good to get some shooting practice in the first end as well. So Irene's team don't want stones building up in this first end. I think they're quite happy to just keep things clean, get settled into the ice for this game. No trouble there. We're in day 1 of the Baden Masters, the first WCT event in the European calendar. Welcome back to Switzerland. Last year it was a bit of a miserable weekend for our visitors. In terms of the weather, it was very grey and very thundery, rained most of the time, but I think the organising committee must have spoken nicely to the tourist office, and they've sorted that out for this time, and now it's lovely and sunny outside, so hopefully our visitors will be enjoying some nice sunny weather here in Switzerland over the weekend as well. nice and simple this first end. Trading hits. That can be good just to get your eye in for hitting. Team Totzek there playing Redstones, the German team. They would be keen to build an end to try to get a score of more than 1 point. But not much chance of that happening, I don't think, in this first end. Irene quite happy to just keep knocking them out. No need to take risks at this early stage. While they are trading hits, I can tell you who else is on the ice this evening. On the rink next door, we have Team Traub from Switzerland against Team Edin from Sweden. We will be watching one of Edin's games at some point this weekend, don't worry. He always seems to be lurking in the background at the moment, but we will be catching up with them tomorrow. On the other side, on rink 3, we have Team Vista playing Team Valstad. We've been practicing our Norwegian pronunciations today, if you haven't been able to join us. Our Scandinavian friends have been helping us say everybody's names properly. So that's on sheet 3, and then our final game, they're just getting started. On sheet 4, it's another Scandinavian outfit. It's Team Magnusson from Sweden against Team De Cruz from Switzerland. So let's say hello to the teams. On the left of your screen there, that's Team Totzek from Germany. And fourth thrower and skip is Sixten Totzek. Third thrower is Mark Miskatowicz. Second thrower, Joshua Sutter. And lead is Dominic Greindl. They're coached by Uli Kapp. And then on the right of your screen, we have Irene Shore's team. Fourth and skip is Irene Shore. Third is Carol Howald, Second, Lara Stocker. And lead player, they are led off by Stephanie Berzet. And you can see their coach just at the end there, Jamie Danbrook. As we said, third game for these teams today. You can see Carol just making sure she's not getting all stiff in the background there. And a bit of a tough day at the office for Team Totzek. They've found themselves in quite a tough group. Well, there are no easy games at this level. I know we always say it, but it's still true. They played the Norwegian team Nedregotten this morning at 8 o'clock. And that was a loss to that team, and then at lunchtime they ran into the world champions Team Niklas Edin, and it was a good game. I think Team Totzek really hung in there. I think they did get to the 8th end, I believe, but they picked up a 2 along the way, so they were definitely hanging in there. But yeah, I think Team Edin's experience and class just won out there in the end. So yeah, coming off a couple of losses, Team Totzek, it's been a long day for them, so they'll be keen to get a win on the board this evening. Still shading hits out there in this first end. That's nice sweeping from second thrower Lara Stocker. And how have Irene's team been getting on today? They've also played twice already. They played another Swiss team, Team Traub, this morning at 8 o'clock. And a bit of a wobbly start for them. They had a loss this morning. But they really picked themselves up for the lunchtime draw. They played Team Nedregotten, the Norwegian team, this lunchtime. And really tight game. They were swapping ends. I think every end went with a hammer, actually. And it went all the way to the last stone. And Team Shori won that game on the last stone. Team Shori will be really looking to build on that win from lunchtime then. Interestingly then, Team Totzek ended up scoring that end. I don't think that was the plan. I think they would rather have blanked that end to hit and roll out. So they're definitely competitive at this level, the Todzek team. They're still relatively new on the scene. I think this is about their 3rd season at this level or so. Do correct me if I'm misspeaking there, but still relatively new. So I would describe them as knocking on the door of the playoff rounds for this level of competition at the moment. They're the kind of team that gives all the other teams problems. But not quite dominating yet. But definitely a banana skin for any other team in the competition. So here we are in the second end of our featured game here at the Baden Masters 2021 edition. Our featured game is between Team Todzek of Germany, who are in the white uniforms. They are throwing red stones, and Team Eirin Shuri from Switzerland in the blue and yellow uniforms, throwing yellow stones. Seems like a good time to confirm that, yes, you are watching the men's team of Todzek playing the ladies' team of Shuri. We can see lead thrower there, Stephanie Berzet. You can see her watching her stone all the way up. This looks like a bit heavy for what she wanted. Yeah, she wanted that to stop before T-line. So a bit of a mistake there. But yes, you are watching a men's team playing a ladies' team. And how did that happen then? This is a men's competition. This is the first one of the men's WCT Tour events here in Europe for this season. So what's a team of ladies doing in there? Well, we still have a little bit of restriction due to coronavirus. And we had 3 or 4, I think, teams from Scotland who were hoping to travel. They were on the roster. They were hoping to play. They wanted to play. But they were a bit delayed with their vaccinations and were not able to get all the administrative bits and pieces sorted out in time, so they had to pull out. And the organisers were looking for a couple of top-tier teams to replace them in the roster, and lucky us, we did get 2 top-tier teams. So we have Eirin Shuri's team out here. They're one of the top Swiss ladies teams. And in the other half of the draw, we have Team Anna Hasselborg, the Olympic champions. We've been looking forward to watching Irene's team and Anna's team. They've been on the static cam already today, on rinks 3 and 4. Oh, this isn't a happy end from Stephanie though. That's a couple of muffed shots from her. She won't be happy with that start. But still plenty of ends left. But yeah, we've been really looking forward to supporting Irene's team here with our featured game, and we will be watching Anna Hasselborg's game on the featured match tomorrow at 4 o'clock European, and that is against Yannick Schwaller. So I think mouth-watering lineup there. And as we keep saying, I think all the men's teams will be taking these games against Irene's team and Anna's team. I'm sure the men's teams are taking this very seriously, especially Todzek's team actually, because poor old Todzek team, they were on the end of 2 defeats from Silvana Tirinzoni in Adelboden last year. So Silvana's team, same situation. We had 1 or 2 last-minute cancellations with travel arrangements for the Adelboden tournament last year, and Silvana's team kindly agreed to fill up the roster there, and they put in a great performance. They were knocked out on the last stone of the semi-final. And I think we can all say a big thank you to them for showing that, yeah, the top ladies teams can absolutely play at the same competitions as the top men's teams. They can definitely hold their own. So they really led the way for our special guests for this weekend. Team Irene Shorey out in the ice just now, and Team Anna Hasselborg. They're not quite finding good places for their stones just now, are they, Irene's team? So let's not let this game get away from us in the first couple of ends. But yeah, we're very grateful to Irene's team and Anna's team for putting themselves out on that stage. And I think a lot of people out there cheering on Irene's team and Anna's team this weekend. As I said, Irene's team, they had a loss this morning, but they had a really good win over the Norwegian team Nedergotten in the lunchtime draw. So they're 1-0 for the day. And Anna Hasselborg's team just won their second game out of 2 for the day. They had a super game against the Czech team Klima this morning at the 10:30 draw, and my maths was wrong this morning, so forgive me, but the Team Hasselborg were chasing that game for 127 out of 128 shots, and they won it with the 128th stone of the game. It was a super finish. Unfortunately, that is neither on the featured game or the static cam, but you'll just have to take my word for it that it was a really exciting win for Team Hasselborg, and they followed that up with a very nice win in the 4 o'clock draw. And that was against... Oh, hang on, I'm looking at Saturday's draw, that's not right. They followed that up at 4 o'clock, the previous draw to this one. Anna's team overcame Team Hess from Switzerland, which is another good win. So the Hess team, they won their game this morning against Team Schneider, who are another tricky Swiss team to get past. So Team Hess would have fancied that one. They were obviously throwing well, but again, really well closed out from Team Hasselborg. That was on the static cam, that was on sheet 4. You can go back and watch that game from the video vault on this channel, WCT TV on YouTube. That was really nicely closed out, that game, in the 8th end by Team Hasselborg. So even if you just watch that last end, it's a nice one to watch. So everything coming good for our guest ladies teams in this competition so far, and a lot of support for Irene's team this evening, I think. So we have our super fans, Michaela and Megan, in the chat, as always. We love to see it. If you want to say hi in the chat, or if you have a question, or you want to share any thoughts, tell us what you're up to. We love to have your inputs in the chat. And see again there, you can see Irene just shaking her head in frustration because they're just not quite finding the angles in this end. Team Shorey. Well, it looks like Irene's last 2 shots are going to have to get them out of trouble. Well, that's nice to hear. Thanks for that update, Michaela. So apparently Freddie Lindberg, the coach for Niklas Edin's team, he was watching Anna Hasselborg's game this morning, and he's posted a video on Instagram of that winning shot. So well worth going to have a look there. As I said, Hasselborg's team chasing that game for 127 shots and finally got the victory on shot 128. I've had a game like that exactly once, and it was really satisfying, actually. So, come on, Irene. That's also very satisfying to see if you're a British person. There was a very famous song in the 80s. It was actually Come On Eileen, but it works here too. That's a lovely shot, Carol. Really nice. We can see that's cleared out the middle. That's definitely steadied the ship a bit for this end. Good job. And if you're determined not to sleep, like Michaela and Megan, then you have one more draw today. That's at 9 o'clock European. It may be a little bit later than that, just because, as I said, it's a very tight schedule. We had 6 draws today, and that's a very tough schedule for the players and for the ice crew, just to get the ice prepared and repebbled and so on in between games. But there is another draw after this game this evening at 9 o'clock, if you just can't get enough curling. And I'll tell you a bit later who you can watch later on this evening before we'll be back tomorrow. So this will be our last game that we're hosting today, because it gets way past my bedtime if I stay up for the 9 o'clock game, and we want to be nice and fresh for tomorrow's morning game. Hello, Happy in the chat. That's a nice name. I hope that describes how you're feeling joining us here in the virtual club room, watching this world-class curling today. We're at the Baden Masters all weekend. This is the first of the World Curling Tour tournaments here in Europe for season 21-22. And we're all very happy and very excited to be back in the club room again. Again, great try, Irene. Didn't quite find the angles to squirt them both out, but she's moved things around a bit. At the moment, she should still have space for her last stone. But Sixten Totzek is going to try to not give her very much space for her last shot. Then after we see what happens in this end, I was writing down before the game because I thought Irene and Carol in particular, they may not be such familiar names to listeners, to curling fans, but goodness me, both of them have a massive trophy cabinet, so we shall go through their many, many decorations after we've seen the result of this end.
Linie gut. Neue Spur. Läuft gut. Yep, Linie. Linie gut. Yep. Yep. Nur Länge. Ja, ja, ja.
This looks pretty nice from Sixten. Yep. That's exactly where he wanted it. Great shot there. Really putting pressure on Irene now. I think she was exactly correct, yep. With that first tap of the brush, she's got no other shot really. A little bit inconsistent this end, the Shorey team. And that's left Irene a tricky shot here with her last one. She can definitely make it. She just needs to grab a piece of the 1 foot circle, the white one right in the middle. And we've seen a couple of shots like that already today. So she's definitely capable, but always tricky. You can hear the sweepers communicating the whole way up, telling Carol about the weight. It's a good effort. But I don't think it's going to stop in time, is it? Oh, it is! Brava, Irene. What a great shot. Good girl. There you go. As I said, we've seen a couple of those already today. Big smiles from Irene's team. Quite right. I think that definitely deserves a fist bump. Or maybe even a little celebratory dance. Yeah, absolutely high fives. All right, great shot there. So that steadied the nerves, given everyone a smile. And that's brought the score after 2 ends here in our featured game to 1 each. We have Team Irene Shorey playing Team Sixten Totzek of Germany. And a super save from Irene there, drawing to the pin against 2 red stones. And she makes it perfectly. That has made our chat member happy. Looks like Happy is happy about that. And I think we all are as well. As I said, a lot of support for Irene's team and for Anna Hasselborg's team in the competition this weekend. Doing everyone a big favour by agreeing to play in this competition and put themselves on this big stage against all the men's teams. And I do think all the teams enjoy that. I think the top men's teams don't have the chance to play against the top women's teams very often. We don't get the chance to see it. So I think a couple of very popular guest teams to fill up our roster for this weekend. And again, really flying the flag for women's curling, showing that the women's teams can absolutely play against the top men's teams and hold their own and give these teams some tough games and win points off them. There we are, that shot confirmed with that super draw to the pin from Irene. We have Truffer Oliver. I hope I said that correctly. That sounds, from his comment rather, it sounds like he is supporting Irene's team. He says sensational length. Yes, absolutely it was. It was just perfect. She didn't have very much flexibility with that shot at all. So a really nice shot there. Hopefully that's given all of Irene's team good confidence now. So yeah, they had a couple of misses in that second end, so we want to be a wee bit tighter with our throws this end. And let's put a bit of pressure on Team Totzek. As I said, Team Totzek, they ran into Silvana Tirinzoni's team twice in Adelboden last year at the first WCT Adelboden International. And they drew Silvana in the round robin as well as in the quarter-final. And they lost both times, so Team Totzek doesn't have a particularly good record against our guest lady teams here in the men's competitions. And I'm sure they will be looking to get a win today. So I said that after that second end, we can talk a little bit about Irene's team. May not be so familiar with Irene's name, Irene Shorey, or Carol Hauvold. Sorry, Carol, I'm sure I'm butchering your name a wee bit, but Irene has been a world champion fully 4 times. She has been to the Olympics as the alternate. She has won the world championship with Binja Felcher twice. She has won the world mixed doubles championship twice. And she has been European champion also with Binja once as well. So no, we're not so familiar seeing Irene throwing fourth and playing skip. But goodness me, does she have a big pedigree. She's won them all. And as I said, I'm sure these men's teams will be taking that very seriously. And she's represented Switzerland at the mixed fours event as well. She's really done it all, has Irene, so she will have no fear facing all these men's teams. And I'm sure they will be very respectful of her many accomplishments. I got a happy little nudge behind the guard there. So yeah, Irene's very much been there, done that in all forms of the competition. She's been ladies world champion twice, European ladies champion once, mixed doubles world champion twice, and she's represented Switzerland also at the mixed competition, so 2 men, 2 ladies. So she's really done everything, and Carol is not far behind her. She has 4 world championship medals as alternate player, 4 gold medals as alternate player. So Carol has been world champion 4 times. She also has won the European Championship once, also as alternate in for Binya's team. And she has also represented Switzerland at the mixed event with the 2 men and 2 ladies, not to get confused with mixed doubles. And the reason I know that is because our team played against their team when Carol was representing Switzerland. So again, Carol's been there, done that at all levels of this game. And I'm sure all their opposition this weekend will be taking that experience very seriously. You can just see our sponsors in the bottom left of your screen there, so we want to say a big thank you to all of them for making this a really attractive competition for all of these top teams. We're glad that several of our friends that weren't able to make it last year, our Norwegian teams were not able to travel. We're glad to see them back. We didn't have the Czech team here last year. I'm glad to see them as well. Unfortunately, as I said at the beginning, the Scottish teams wanted to come. They were eager to play in this competition. They had to miss out last year as well because of travel restrictions, and I think there were 4 teams, at least 3. I think there may have been 4 teams wanted to come from Scotland, but they had problems getting vaccinated in time, I think. And anyway, the result is that the Scottish teams were not able to travel in time. So unfortunately, we're missing our favourite Scottish teams. But the silver lining to that cloud is that we get to see fun lineups like this. We get to watch Irene's ladies team playing the top men's teams, and we've already got to watch Anna Hasselborg's team playing a couple of the top men's teams as well. 610 wondering if it's worth trying to squeeze through that little gap to just pick out the shot. I think he's got a better idea here. Let's just play that front yellow onto the other one and try and spring them both back. So big old weight from Mark Muszkatowicz here. He's got it that time. Really nice shot from third thrower Mark Muszkatowicz there. But Irene's still got a guard they can use. And we've seen this before. So that guard, it's halfway between the centre line and the wings of the house, as we call it, the outside edge of the circles. And if Irene gets a nice shot buried in behind that, she probably won't expect that to score a point for them at the end, but what it could do is force 610 Totzig to score a point instead. And then that will be one of our favourite tactics that we talk about. That will be a -1 for Irene, which is exactly what she wants, and that's a great setup. Nice play again, Carol. So now looking for a miss from the German team, that they can keep guarding up that lovely shot from Carol Hauwald. I must speak to her after the game and ask her how to say her name properly. You'd think I would know by now. Another big weight coming from Mark Muszkatowicz. He's pretty close, I think. So he moves the yellow, and the red's going to spin out. That's one of those shots that looks pretty fancy. A nice raised double takeout, but he has left that red in a pretty similar position, and Irene now has the chance to play exactly the same shot. But he moved the immediate danger, so yeah, you can see the two German boys looking happy enough with that result. That cleared the immediate threat. Again, our featured game here is rattling on quite quickly. Everyone else is only on their second end, so not much to update outside sheet 2 here. So have they found enough curl? Carol's saying keep it moving all the way to the end. I think that's not quite as well birdied as, no, it's not particularly birdied at all actually. So quite easy for 610 to see that. But I think it will be quite difficult for him to draw past the middle of it and sneak in behind that red guard, which is probably what he wants to do. There we go, exactly what Mark's showing us there. He wants to just curl past the nose of that yellow and catch the right angle to spring off and go in behind that red guard. This will be a careful wait again from 610 that we see more and more these days, because shot placement is so important. Not only does he want to move the yellow, they really want to control where this red is going to end up as well. So let's see if he's accurate with it. He said he just wants to curl past the nose of the yellow and then jump in behind. He's got about half of it. If Irene plays basically the same shot that she's just seen 610 play, I think that will punch that red out, and then there should be no chance of the German team scoring 2 points at this end. And that's fine enough for Team Shorey. Then we'll see if the Germans want to put another point on the board, or more likely, do they want to blank the end? And everyone else has finally finished their second end. So we'll update you after Irene's shot here. A very distinctive cry when she's calling a stone, Irene. You can hear her whichever game she's in, and she's made it just about perfectly. She couldn't have got around that guard by much less. So I think that's about as well as she could have played that shot. Similar situation then to the first end, where again Shorey team were lying one yellow, and they did manage to get a half shot, a mistake out of Team Todsek, who wanted to hit and run out and blank the end, but instead ended up hitting and sticking. So let's see if Todsek has learned from that. Not quite sure what all the ladies are giggling about, but good to see them enjoying themselves. I certainly always play better when I'm in a good mood, like it seems Irene and the other ladies are.
Yep, yep.
So this will be a bigger weight, and he'll want that red to roll out. I think he's got it this time. Oh no! He's found the only stone it could have jammed on. Oh dear. These blanking ends are not going well for Team Todsek today. Oh yeah, that's definitely worth a giggle, boys, yeah. So again, nice end from Irene and the ladies there. They had that one shot in play, forced 6-10 to play against it and got a mistake from them. So again, Team Shuri, they now have the hammer back and they only had to give up 1 point. So a bit of a mistake there from Totzek. Again, unfortunately. Yeah, they're not very pleased putting up that one shot again, having tried to blank. So yes, let's all concentrate. And let's see what Team Shuri can do this time with last shot. They didn't really give themselves a good chance at scoring more than 1 point, and Irene had to get them out of trouble with a draw to the pin with her last stone. They'll be hoping they can make a better end of it this time and hopefully try and build a couple points. So let's go and see how everyone else is getting on. You can probably see on the left of our screen, you can see the indomitable Team Erin got a big 3 in the second end against Team Traub from Switzerland. So they lead 3-1 after 2 ends. They're in their third end. On the other sheet next door to us, we have Team Pfister against Team Wahlstatt. And Team Wahlstatt had a great start with a big 3 in the first end. Team Pfister got 1 back in the second end, so that is 3-1 to the Norwegian team on sheet 3. And our final game out there this evening draw is Team Magnusson from Sweden against Peter de Cruz from Switzerland. And Peter de Cruz also started out with a big 3 in the first end. Magnusson also got 1 back in the second end, so they're having an identical game to sheet 3. That is also 3-1 to de Cruz over Magnusson. And they're even playing the same stone colours to just make it very easy. Third game for most of these teams today. And the pace doesn't let up. There's 5 draws, I think, tomorrow. You need to be fit to play in these competitions. 3 2-hour-plus games in one day. That can really take its toll. That's a really nice start from Team Totzek, from their lead thrower, Dominik Greindl. So it sounds like Irene's plan is to just push that back a bit, just start moving those stones around. She doesn't really need to try to get them out of play. She just wants to move things around a little bit, get them out of the forefoot. So a lovely shot there of lead thrower Stephanie Berzet for Team Shuri. Yeah, pretty much like that. Just gentle weight, so important that yellow hangs around. She managed to get a better angle from that red now. So 2 nice stones there from Stephanie. And first stone in this fourth end for Joshua Sutter. Second thrower for Team Totzek. They don't have last stone now in this fourth end. They'll be keen to keep the play towards the middle. Second thrower for Team Shorey. Her first shot of this fourth end, that's Lara Stocker. You can see she's a left-hander. Really nice shot from her, gets everything moving. Generates some nice space, good job. Irene will need to always have that in mind when she's giving ice for Lara's stones, is that Lara, as a left-hander, she will be coming out of the opposite hack, because typically most people are right-handed. And Lara will be coming out of the left-hander's hack. We'll get to see her again now. And Irene will always have that in mind. It's just a slightly different angle, and most of the time it doesn't really make much difference. But just occasionally, that slightly different angle can be important. Nice to see Matilda joining us to watch again. She's enjoying very much watching Anna Hasselborg's team. I think we all are. 2 wins for Anna Hasselborg's team out of 2 today. Good day's work so far. And they actually have a bye this evening, so they can have a nice early night and feel fresh for tomorrow morning. That's another good effort from Lara. You can see again she got 2 or 3 stones moving. Yeah, I think Irene says sehr schön, very good. And I think that 2 nice shots from Lara Stocker there. Just trying to keep things open, trying not to let the forefoot and not get the centre get too busy. You can see Irene was quickly ready to sweep that red. You could see that it was running a little bit wider of what they were wanting. But they had the right weight, so the red didn't roll out completely. That's a nice shot. If you can remove that red that's on the centre line, and you can roll into that little nest of reds over there on the left of our screen, and then your yellow would be quite nicely protected in there. And all of a sudden, we're building an end. We'll see that nice controlled weight from Carol again. Important that this yellow also hangs around. She doesn't look too happy with it, Carol. I think, yeah, she's not quite caught enough of it, but let's see if it will catch. Well, she got a little bit of a bonus there, yeah. We'll take that. Managed to keep the yellow hanging around. But I don't think that yellow will be hanging around for much longer. He's a nice, comfortable hitter, Mark Muskatovic. And just keeping it clean all the way. This looks like a nice, tidy shot. Yep, very good. So a couple of choices for Irene. She could try to freeze on the wing. There we are. That's exactly what she's just asking the rest of them. What do they think? 2 choices. You can either use that centre guard and drop it where Irene's pointing to just now, or you could try and freeze on the wing and try to keep the play away from the centre. I like this choice. Let's get to the centre first. As we've said, if you're going to make 2 points, you need a mistake from your opposition anyway. If your opposition play all 8 of their stones, you're only ever likely to pick up 1 point. I think this looks quite nice. It's a nice strong sweep from Stephanie and Lara there. Oh, have they overdone it? I hope not. No. Just let it stop. Great job, Carol. Sehr schön indeed. Really nice. Cancels out those two tricky reds on the outside and gets a nice shot right round behind that centre guard. That's a really nice place for it, because even if Sogsten, that's a new name, even if Sixten draws on top of that yellow that Carol just played, they should still have some space to get a second shot in there. So really nice shot there from Carol. And skip stones to come. So first shot for Sixten Todzek in the fourth end here. All of our games are 8 ends in this competition. If the score is tied after 8 ends, we will play 1 extra end. That's already happened once today.
Yep. Sauber. Oh, wie schnell?
Only really celebrated by the team who needed it, to be honest, the extra end, because we have such a tight schedule. I don't think he's got enough of it to move the yellow the whole way out. He hasn't. Nice chance now for Irene's team to get a second shot in there. They've got last stone in this fourth end. And now they have a nice chance to capitalise on that half shot from Sixten. So you can see how good that shot was from Carola. She got it right round behind that nice centre guard. Had to be a very delicate shot from Sixten. It was a hard shot. And he caught some of it, but not enough. So now yellow's still lying shot, and they still have that nice guard out front. Yeah, just there. That's exactly where we want to land this stone. And we can snap open another one of our handy phrases that we like to say. What they're trying to do is Christmas tree it. And what that means is, if you imagine a Christmas tree, as you would draw it very simply, with the kind of spiky branches coming out at the side and little baubles on the end of those spiky branches, the kind of little triangular branches. And if you imagine those curling stones are the little baubles on a Christmas tree, so they end up in this kind of diagonal, triangular sort of line, and it becomes very difficult. In fact, if she gets this perfectly, Irene, there will not be a double takeout. That's the idea. So come on, Irene, again. I'm enjoying saying that. Ooh, I think it's got a bit of hot sauce on it, this one. We have to go to a plan B. Important is that yellow lies 2 after this, which they do. Yeah, so didn't quite get that little diagonal line, the little baubles on the Christmas tree, but yellow still lies 2. And this is the last shot now for Sixten Todzek of Germany. Yeah, that was a good chance for Irene's team there. She'll be a bit disappointed with that one. A little bit shorter was better for them, actually, than too long on that shot. But they're still lying 2. They should still have chances with Irene's last stone. So last shot here for Todzek in the first half of this game. I think he's probably just trying to follow Irene's shot in, that yellow at the back of the forefoot. He's about to go through the both of them though. Yeah, they didn't quite get the angle on that, did they? So a half shot from Irene, but got away with it. And if she plays the exact same shot again, 2 points, please. In fact, she doesn't even need to be as accurate. They can afford to take a little bit more ice. They don't need to be close to that centre guard, the yellow that's close to Carol just now. As long as they're in the 8-foot circle, the white circle, that will be 2 points. So, come on, Irene. For the second time this end. Again, they've done the hard work. Let's finish it off now. You can see Carol standing a little bit further outside the rings this time. They don't need to be anywhere near that centre guard with this last stone. And now it's over to Lara and Stephanie to make sure they get this to the 8 foot, so they'll be keeping it clean the whole way. You can see the two of them not letting up. They want to make sure it gets there, make sure it's in the 8 foot. I think that's a really nice job from everyone in the team. Great team shot. Nicely judged by the sweepers, just kept it clean the whole way up. 2 yellow points. That's better, ladies. That was a happier result with last stone there. Really well worked end. High fives all round, quite right. I don't give my team high fives because I have hit people in the face before. I'm not very good at high fives. I tend to get a bit stressed out with them, to be honest. But if I was more competent at high-fiving, I would definitely be celebrating a well-worked end there. That brings our score here in our featured game there at the halfway point. The score is 3-2 to Team Shori against Team Totzek of Germany. Pretty even game. I think there's definitely in the balance. I think both teams a little bit inconsistent at times and very consistent at other times. So I think it will just depend on who can keep that consistency together. And I know that secretly, I think most of us watching, not that we don't like to see Team Totzek win, but I think secretly most of us would love to see Irene's team pick up a point here again. Really flying the flag for women in sport, being leaders in sport. Totally competing on this same stage as the men and doing really well. So no rest for the sweepers. They're straight back into sweeping lead thrower Stephanie Berzet stone. I think that's landed exactly where Irene had her brush. Great job, Stephanie. And this is nice tactics from Irene. So you can see there goes the score. Irene's team are 3-2 up now. And you would often see that stone just go straight into the house because they're +1. It's up to Totzek to now try and build an end to try and get stones in play. And this is nice aggressive stuff from Irene. She thinks, no, we've got our draw weight. It's working for us, this aggressive game. Good for her. So she's put up a guard instead of putting that first shot in the house, knowing that Totzek's surely going to go for a corner guard. So she's already got her guard in place now. This is nice to see. So they're not afraid to keep going aggressively. That's what's getting them their points just now. And we love to see it. Keeping shots in play. All kinds of angles and plenty of possibilities. And now lead player Stephanie Berzet being asked to go around the guard. She played just perfectly with her first shot. Sounds like they're calling the weight. It's just lovely. They're talking about front of house. That's just where they want it. And just a little bit of help at the end from Lara there. And stop now, please. So super length there. It just, you can see it curled so much it popped out the other side. But that's fine. Irene's +1. She's happy to keep the play towards the centre. She doesn't want to give Sixten Totzek a chance to use that corner guard that he's thrown up. If she keeps him busy in the centre of play, that's exactly what her tactics will be for this end. So 2 nice shots there from Stephanie, well done.
Ist Heck. Hat Heck. Backline.
This looks nice though from lead thrower Dominic Grindel from Team Todzek. Both having a look to agree that all of that stone is over all of the back line. It can be quite dangerous if you have those shots hanging around really at the back of the line. You can quite easily stand on them and fall over. And ice is slippy, so you have to be careful. Nice shot there from Dominic Grindel, but I think Lara Stocker should be able to play a similar shot. She can see most of that stone, I think. Can see Carol's sweeping for Carol there, and she's done a good job of it. Perfect, really nice shot there. Just moves the red and has that shot hanging around the wing. However, what that has done now, that's cleared out the centre, moved play away from the centre. So now Toksten, I'm so sorry, I keep calling him Toksten. Now Sixten Todzek, he can use the corner guard that they carefully threw up with their first shot. So now they're going to try to take play away from the centre. I don't think Irene's team could have done too much better with their previous shot. And I think this is going to catch the guard. Ooh, it is. Oh, that's a pity that looked like that. It was really nice for weight. But what they've done though is give Irene almost a double guard in the centre. I think it looks like she's saying that red is just biting, making a little bitey symbol with her fingers. What that means is the red is just touching the rings, but they won't be too worried about that. There's plenty of curl around that centre line, and they will want to sneak one into the centre while they have this chance. This is what I was talking about. So, you know, first few stones from the Germans, really nice, and then just that one little mistake, and it's advantage Team Shorey. She's certainly got the line, Lara. It's going to go a little bit behind T though. But yeah, it's touching the 4-foot circle. That gives Todzek something to think about. Yep. I hope that's his thinking hat that he's got on already. I think you may have to slightly bail this end, Sixten. Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to get another chance to use that corner guard now. I think he may have to just fight for the centre and make sure they don't lose this end. So second thrower Joshua Sutter. He wants to follow that stone in from Lara Stocker. Just ran on a little bit. You can see there's plenty of space for Joshua Sutter to slip one in there. I think he's got it pretty nicely. Yep, just follow that straight down. But you can see if Lara plays that same shot again, she is then going to stay shot. And again, Irene is quite happy with this tactic. Here we go with one of our favourite tactical phrases is -1 is fine for Irene in this end. A score of -1 points. If red get 1 point, then it will be 3-all, and Irene's team will have the hammer back in the even ends. So this is exactly the right tactic to persist with. Keep dragging the play towards the middle. Keep playing that nice aggressive game that's been working for them. Looks like it's got a little bit more room, this shot, but it's curling now. It's caught that end curl. Just T-line, she says. She's got it perfectly. What a great shot from Lara Stocker. Having a really nice game out there this evening. Oh, and my apologies, that was a really nice shot from Carol, who is also having a really nice game this evening.
Ja. Ist mega lang rausgeblieben. Ja.
Germany in a bit of trouble now then. They have last shot,
Ja.
but there's a couple of stones blocking the centre, and there's a yellow on the centre. So if Germany wants to score anything in this end, they have to do something about
Down.
all these stones out front. This looks a nice effort. That's a pretty good shot. Again, I don't think he could have done too much more with that. It's moved everything around a bit, created a bit of space in the forefoot.
Ja.
But Irene's going to keep piling on the pressure. They're drawing beautifully in this game.
Ja, vor der 4.
So she's going to put more pressure on the German team by basically repeating that same shot. She's asked Carol for probably about the same weight. She just wants it to be just ahead of T-line. And just keep putting pressure on Germany. Don't let them start building an end. Don't let them start dictating tactics.
Wartet schnell. Okay. Wartet schnell, wartet schnell.
Okay, ja, dann zieh. Richtig und gut.
Er kommt vor der 4, ha?
Ein bisschen 4, halb 4. Perfekt.
A nice consistent end from the ladies team here, and it's really working for them. I think that's exactly where they wanted it. Oh, look at that. What a great shot. That's 2 corkers from Carola Halvold. Sehr schön it is. So, gosh, Germany not looking in a happy position just now. They do have last stone in this 5th end. But it's looking awfully yellow in there, isn't it? This is the way the game's going now, particularly since the introduction of the 5-rock rule for this Olympic cycle. It was introduced to keep the game more aggressive, to keep more stones in play, and it's really working. All the teams having to switch up their tactics and makes it a bit more exciting for us viewers. So, nice throw there from Mark Muskatowicz. He's having a good game as well, really, isn't he? Again, I don't think he could have done much more. He's moved those yellows behind the T-line, and now that red's in a dangerous place. I think yellow is still shot, but behind the T-line with a dangerous red ahead of T-line. So what do you do? Do you do something about that red directly, or do you throw a guard where Irene's pointing to? You can see an edge of that red, so you could try and squirt it out directly, but I don't think there's any advantage to that. You would just open up those 2 yellows at the back and give Germany quite an easy shot. Bit of a nest there of yellow stones at the back of the forefoot. So I definitely think, yeah, they have to cut off that path somehow. So they'll be asking themselves, what shot would Sixten Totzek like to play with his last stone? And that's what they'll be trying to stop. So 4 stones to come, 2 each. Skip stones at this 5th end of our featured game here at the Baden Masters. And this little committee meeting gives us a chance to say thank you again to our sponsors for making this a very attractive event for all of our teams. Always a popular opener for the season, the Baden Masters. Big thanks to our sponsors there for supporting this event, which means we can attract all of these top teams. So I think where Carol's pointing is roughly where they want it. It sounded like they were saying top 12, so that means just that front red ring. I don't think they want it in any closer than that, otherwise that could be a stone that Totzek could use to try to punch back and get his own red moving. So we'll see how this end plays out, and then we'll go and have a look and see how everyone else is getting on. They've been playing this nice drawing game
Okay.
all this game, Irene's team, and it's really working for them.
Warte, Putze.
A nice front ring draw, please.
Ja. Warte, warte.
This looks
bis
pretty
hier.
nice.
Noch mal bis hier. No, ho, ho.
Just a little sweep to help it in at the end. Lovely shot again, ladies. Great job. There you can see that's really removed that angle on that red. No weight to that red on the clockwise handle anymore. And enough separation. That's why it was important that they didn't want it to come too far close to that red. Otherwise that might be a shot that the German team could use, but now it isn't. Or it's a very difficult shot for them to use. So yeah, they're having to go for some quite tricky stuff now. It looks like he's trying to use his own red there to play at weight. And he wants to spin off his own red shot and spin it in behind all those stones in the centre, is what it looks like. So this is awfully hard work to try to get 1 point. Yep, it's coming at weight.
Yep.
Nice idea. A whole lot of stones moving, including those that were already out of play and potentially in the game next door. So again, I think that may have been his best result there. I don't know if that red was ever going to spin all the way around and kind of back up the rings, almost travelling backwards towards the front of the rings. And that gives Irene, again, a chance to close the door on this end. Short before long here. Yellow's lying closest to the middle there. Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. Pretty clear that's Yellowstone. That Yellowstone looks very nice and comfortable there. I think perfect would be to play exactly T-line here and just boop that red on the nose, and then you would be lying 2 yellow behind 3 guards, which would be very, very difficult for Sixten. But a little bit short is not a disaster either, to just block that path, make sure the Germans can't sneak in that line instead. So it looks like she's not heavy, that's good. Looks like they're calling it just short of the rings, and that's okay. That's blocked that path. So I think there is a shot, yeah, there is a shot on the counterclockwise handle. Not easy. So that was definitely the right shot for Irene to go for. She would have wanted it a bit further in. But yeah, there is a shot here. Yeah, you can if you catch the edge of that yellow, you can use your own red to kind of squirt the yellow backwards.
Du musst ja nur hierher schieben. Für zwei musst du sogar nur hierher schieben. Ja. Aber ich finde hinten 12 ist gut.
So he's taking quite a lot of ice, so this will not be a big weight. It needs to be enough weight to move that yellow, but not enough to roll himself out. So this looks, from the amount of ice he's taking, the more ice you're taking, the slower the weight will be, because the more the stone will curl. There you can see it. That looks quite nice from the overhead camera. Not so nice from the other end when you're sitting in the hack. There's a lot of stones to get in your field of vision there, and you really just have to concentrate on only the shot you want. Don't think about those guards in front. He really has to concentrate just on that yellow. He just wants to nudge up to the side of it, and if he's got perfect weight, he may be able to sit for 2. But yeah, even for 1 point, this is a hell of a shot.
Yep. Harley!
So let's see, has he got it?
Linie! Alles Tommy! Oh, ist zu langsam.
They've given it up already, but let's see if they maybe get a handy rub. No, they don't. So for me, that seems like a yellow. That would have been most undeserved if they'd managed to get a lucky bounce in to get one red from there. They may want to measure it, why not? Just to make sure. No, I think they all agreed that was one yellow. So just that nice consistency from Irene's team there. And not quite in the rhythm. Sixten's team and smiles from Irene's team, quite right. They're really finding their, they're really finding their rhythm in this game. They're playing nice and consistently now, so let's keep that up, ladies. And there, that all came from Irene's first shot, well, Irene's team's first shot. That was Stephanie's first shot, that they went for the guard. Instead of just playing straight into the house and keeping it safe, they kept on with the aggressive shot, and their reward is they stole a point in that end. We love to see it. Let's keep going with this aggressive stuff, ladies. It's really working for you. And after 5 ends here in our featured game at the Baden Masters, we have a score of 4-2 for Team Irene Shorey against Team Sixten Totzek. So, deep breath, calm down. 6th end underway. As I said, Team Totzek didn't have the best of times against a ladies team the last time they met them in Adelboden Masters. That was the first Adelboden International WCT event last year. They came up against Silvana Tiranzoni's team, who were our guest ladies team again at last minute, filling in for some teams who were unable to travel after all, and poor old Team Totzek lost twice to Silvana Tiranzoni's team. And it looks like they seem to be always drawn against the guest ladies teams and finding life a bit tough against them. But definitely still could go either way this game. I think for me, Irene's team have been on top for the last 2 or 3 ends, but they need to keep that up now. They've got a lead of 2 points, but that can go quickly with a couple of misses. So let's keep focused, ladies. Let's keep concentrating. Keep playing those nice tactics that are working for you. Looks like they're doing the same again.
Yep.
Putting up guards there. Sounds like Stephanie's been asked for a tight guard with her second stone. So just short of the rings. While Carol and Lara are busy sweeping, let's see what's going on the other games. Strong reply from Team Traub on rink 1. They are in their 5th end, and the score after 4 ends is 3 each. So they got a strong 2 in that 4th end to cancel out Edine's 3 in the 2nd end. And they got that 1 in the 1st end, so 3 each between Team Traub and Team Edine. So really hanging tough there, Team Traub, good for them. And in our other neighbour game, on sheet 3, we have a score of 4-2 to the Norwegian Team Valstad against Team Pfister. And our final game out there this evening is Peter de Cruz against Daniel Magnusson from Sweden. And golly, Peter de Cruz taking no prisoners. Wowzers. Just saw Benoit Schwartz throw a huge across the house double, which he made. So they're having a really strong day. They were off early in their game this afternoon. They played Valstad, the Norwegians, and they were really in control of that game the whole way, and not taking their foot off the pedal here either. good to see Team Ballestad coming back from that game at lunchtime against De Cruz. They just never really got to grips with it. They never really found their rhythm or were playing consistently there. So good to see them. They got a big 3 in that first end, and that can make a big difference at this level. You don't exactly start hitting for home from the second end, but a cushion of 3 points is quite a big cushion at this level. A lot of experience in Stefan's team. They have Torgeir Nergard throwing third stones, and that is the same Torgeir who was third thrower with Thomas Ulsrud's team. He's really been there, done that. He's kind of won everything. And Stefan Ballestad's no slouch either. He has been a world champion at mixed curling. The Norwegian team skipped by Stefan that year in Bern. They won the very first World Mixed Championship. So they certainly know how to win, that Norwegian team. They just not quite finding their shots earlier on today, but they seem to be playing better this evening.
So wollt ihr nicht schnell spielen? Aber den Double und Roll? Oder wäre der nicht gegangen? Ah, okay.
Ja. Hat schon als erstes gedacht.
So this is better from Germany now, and are back in our featured game. Todzek's team from Germany throwing red stones, and this is a better start. They've got 2 stones ahead of T-line, in dangerous places.
Behalt.
Halb oder 2 Drittel. Am liebsten 2 Drittel.
Looks like Irene
Ist gut.
wants to squirt everything. Asking Lara for a big weight here. She wants to get everything moving. She can move both the reds here, but I think she'll probably lose the yellow if she gets it right.
Achtung, ja.
Ja.
Jetzt.
Kom fest.
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 Fest, 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 fest.
Never any mistake when Irene's calling a shot.
Komm noch ein bisschen, komm noch ein bisschen, komm noch ein bisschen. Oi, oi, oi.
So she does lose that back yellow, but keeps the
So gut.
her own yellow in play. Yeah, that's
Ist ein bisschen eng gewesen.
cleared out the middle a bit. That's cleaned things up. I think overall positive. Nice shot, Lara. So 6-10 again has a question. He threw out that corner guard, but we see this time and time again now in the 5-rock world. You see teams throwing up a corner guard, but then they get sucked into playing towards the centre and they end up never using their corner guard. So Todzek determined to use it this end, and this is a nice shot. He just wants to punch that yellow through, not too big weight, and get a little roll behind that red corner guard, and then they will be set up very nicely.
Gut. Hold on. Hold up.
They're trying to sweep it to curl a little bit more because he's not caught enough of that stone, and he's now going to roll out.
Ja.
He may get another chance to use that corner guard because at the moment Irene has to deal with that red in the centre. It's the boys' team that have last stone in this end. So Irene doesn't want to take any chances with letting stones pile up in the house. So asking Carol for raise takeout, yellow into red. Needs to curl, needs to curl. It does have a curl at the end, and she's done the job. She's cleared out the 4-foot completely and moved that red. Nice job there from Carol Howald. She does leave that guard in the middle, but again, I don't think she could have done too much more with that shot. Important was to move that red off the 4-foot, which she has. We can take a minute to say hi to Rob in the chat. Thanks for joining us, Rob. And thanks for your nice words. I'm glad you're enjoying the game. If you want to say hi, we always love to hear from our virtual curling friends, so don't be shy. Feel welcome to say hello or ask a question or let us know what you think about the games. Because in German you typically have the E sound at the end. Yep, fist bumps all round. Nice shot there. Sixten now going for the centre. I don't think he can use that corner guard any longer. There's no advantage to playing onto that yellow that Irene's team just played, because you will still end up behind T-line, and if you do a dead draw behind that corner guard, you won't outcount the yellow. So this is the right idea. We'll abandon the corner and just try to control the centre instead. We're in the 6th end here of our featured game at the Baden Masters. It's the 5th draw today. The 3rd game today for most of the teams out there. And there's still 1 draw to come at 9 o'clock European, although I think we may be running a little bit later. That may end up being a little bit later, the final draw today. And then we're back at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. All these guys have to be pretty fit to get through this weekend's curling here. They will all have been in the gym over summer. And all of these guys, they now have summer ice. It used to be that the curling club closed over summer. So going for the same idea, but I think that's overcurled a little bit. So now, big chance for Todzek to get 2 points now in this end. He needs to make the most of that miss from Irene's team. That just curled too much for her, so didn't get straight back enough. Big chance here. You've got the mistake from the ladies, so can you make the most of it? But yeah, we club players, we still have a bit of a break over summer, and yeah, you tidy up the attic and paint the garage and that sort of thing. All those things you don't really have time to do during winter when you're at the curling club all the time. But these guys, they don't really take a break anymore. I think all the countries except Netherlands have summer ice now. Certainly Baden, where we are this weekend, this ice is here all year. And these top teams, they won't really have much of a pause anymore during summer. They'll still be out throwing stones most days, making sure they're keeping fit at the gym, storing up that strength for the winter season. The ladies still all giggling and happy with their game, as they should be. They're playing very nicely. But they have given the Germans a bit of an opportunity here. So Sixten needs to make the most of this. They've not had so many chances in this game yet, and he needs to tuck one in behind that yellow guard. So he's certainly got a nice line. Let's see if it'll stop in time. Yes, it does. So nice job there. This could be an important end for Todzek. 6th end in our featured game, and the score is 4-2 to Irene Shorey. They could really use a 2 pretty soon, the Germans. So this could end up being a fairly important shot that he just played there.
14,5. Also, ja, aber weißt 14,5. Sie haben nichts gewusst. 14,5 ist super.
Bis zu 4 Fuß wäre gut.
Ja. Da ist gut.
Probieren wir dort Corner Freeze. Hinein ist auch okay, wenn die Linie stimmt. Dann müsste er nicht Freeze sein. Mit dem Hitten der Roll sind wir...
So if you see a stone scooting across from rink 4 into rink 2, that was again Benoit Schwarz just clearing out everything and not letting up on poor old Team Magnusson from Sweden.
Wenn die Linie stimmt, muss er nicht Freeze sein. Ja?
They're not having a fun game out there. Their score is now 8-1 in the 6th end. So 8-1 after 5. And really struggling to make any build an end against Peter de Cruz.
T-line!
But 6th end's looking a little bit more optimistic.
Aber so bleiben! So
Kannst
bleiben!
du sogar durch die Lücke spielen, ne?
We'll
Jetzt
keep you
gehen wir
updated over
ganz
there.
fest. 14-7! Bis hier! Bis T-line! Bis T-line! Er muss Shot sein! Er muss Shot sein!
Again, this was a courageous call from Irene. If this had gone wrong, you were risking losing a bucket full.
Sind wir Shot?
Nein.
So it's not shot, but I think it's well hidden. Looks quite nice and safe, that yellow behind the guard, and it's got a couple of stones behind it.
Das ist schade.
So
Ah, so länger.
from Irene that it's not quite shot, but I think she's being a little bit hard on herself. I think that's a very nice insurance shot to make sure that
Okay.
Und jetzt zum
they're
Beispiel
not risking losing a big end here.
Das ist jetzt die Frage. Weil schon mal er ist schon gut covered. Was dir lieber halt ist. Genau.
But I think they've certainly cancelled out that red
Yeah.
behind the tee line
Yeah.
on the left of our screen as we see it.
Ja, ist gut.
So now the boys have to come up with how to keep putting the pressure on. How can they
Grad
still
hinten
manage to
12.
try to get 2 points at this end? I think probably what they're doing is trying to play the same shot that Irene's just played, but just a little bit heavier. You can see that it's pretty close. That red near Mark's brush, that's first shot. Then yellow on the left there is second shot and red is third shot, but they're all quite close together. You don't have to move that yellow very far, that you will be first and second shot. As we said, very important end, looks like this one. I think this is Team Totsek's chance to bring this game back on level terms.
Sauber.
They really need to make the most of this end now.
Ist er mehr oder langsamer? Oh, nein, nein, nein. Easy, ist gut. Komm.
And that's exactly what he does.
Right.
Oh, I didn't realise that was last shot. My mistake. So really nice end there from the Germans. That's really got them back into this game.
Ganz.
Big 3 points there
Ja.
in the 6th end, and that brings the score in our featured game here.
Gut, schön.
5-4 now.
Nein,
Team
nein,
Totsek then
nein, nie. Nein, aber er
taking the
muss
lead
einfach- er muss schon-
again.
oder er muss immerhin
Wir sind einer
so
vorne.
After a
sehen,
really strong
das ist
few
die
ends
Not
from
halt.
Irene Shuri's
Ein
team.
forcen, dann einen machen ein bisschen. Bis zwei vorne.
Mo, er kann
So
noch
stones
stoppen.
flying everywhere
Ja,
in
letztens doch.
rinks 1 and 3 up at our end.
Ja, aber das hätte er können machen.
Musst du deinen Skip fragen, was er lieber mag.
Dann zeigen
Da muss er jetzt dann hinzumachen.
wir hätten nicht, oder jetzt sicher, weißt, 14 oder wenn er einen tappt, ist auch okay.
And I know we have a few Scandinavian fans watching, and you will be happy to learn that Team Daniel Magnusson, in fact, picked up a big 3 in that 6th end against Peter de Cruz.
Ja, aber weißt,
So that's really cheered them up. That makes the score now, instead of 8-1, it's 8-4. Quite a different game now. They're in their 7th end. I think it still maybe a little bit beyond them to pull this game all the way back to an extra end or a win.
Yep.
But very well worked in that 6th end to give themselves a chance to score 3 points. I don't think very many teams can get a big end off Peter de Cruz. So nice job, Team Magnussen. That should give them all a bit of a boost. And you can see the score on the left of our screen. That's the Team Edin match against Team Traub. And Eden's team scored a 2 in that fifth end. And they now lead 5 points to 2.
Ja, jeden muss ich gerade durchballern. Jeden deiner Stellen muss ich gerade durchballern.
And the other game out there is the game on sheet 3. That's against, sorry, that's Team Pfister against Team Wahlstatt. And they have a very close score. That's 4-3 to Wahlstatt. And they are in their sixth end. So Stephanie trying the tick shot, making it beautifully. As we keep saying, a very difficult shot, that tick shot. You need enough weight to move it off the centre line, which she has, but not out of play. And she's got a bonus corner guard for Team Shuri there, which will hopefully come in helpful as they have last stone in this end.
Ja, ist ein bisschen knapp gewesen.
So let's see if she can do it again.
Okay, nicht ganz vorne 4.
Ja,
Ja.
genau.
That's also a good call. There's no need to do anything about that guard this minute.
Ja.
As we said, we often see teams throwing up a corner guard and then never using it. So Irene going to get that winger just on the wings of the house. She wants to get that safely in behind that cover and then deal with the centre stones. I do like those team jackets from Team Totzek that say epic on the back. That must make you feel quite good going out in the morning. I'm feeling very epic today. Good sweep from her teammates there. Is that just biting? Yes, it is. There you can see just the very edge of that yellow, covering the very edge of the circles, and that means that it's not protected by the free guard zone, and Totzek can move it out. So he's asking second thrower Joshua Suter for a, again, controlled weight. I think he would like a roll to the centre. He doesn't really want this red to roll out again, so he wants to remove the yellow but keep his own red in play. I don't think he's going to get much of a roll, but he does remove the yellow. Time for one of our favourite tactics, that removing the centre guard when you have last shot is rarely a bad idea. Although I must say I might have preferred to see them try to get around the corner guard again. But they have cleared out the centre, left two corner guards. Nice consistent game from Lara Stocker at second for Team Shuri. No, that doesn't help you, 6-10.
Aber ist hinter denen nicht einfacher?
Also not.
Ja. Dann lässt du sie wieder hinter ihre gelbe Guard. So hast du einen kurzen Run.
I'm not sure what's the advantage to playing to the wings here. That's exactly what Irene wants to do, so she's quite happy if the boys are now playing away from the centre. Team Shorey with the last stone in this 7th end. All of our games are 8 ends here at the Baden Masters. And if scores are tied after 8 ends, we will have an extra end. And that would be deeply unpopular because we're already a bit behind time. So all the other teams and the ice crew are cheering for someone to win. They don't really mind who, as long as we don't get an extra end. So this is, for me, a slightly strange idea from Irene. I'm not quite sure what's the tactic here. She's got last stone. I'm not sure if she's maybe trying to blank the end and keep last stone for the 8th end. We're in the 7th end here, the second to last. We have left-handed Lara trying to get the angles on these red guards. So she wants to catch the edge of this and roll all the way across, but she's going to do. But yeah, that was always the risk there when you've got several stones lying around, that you can start accidentally punching things into the rings. Because now they might find themselves forced to score one if they can't do anything about that red. And then they would be in a bit of a tough position coming home in the 8th end. Scores would be tied, but they wouldn't have last shot. So that would be potentially a more difficult finish. Again, want to see how much experience that particularly Irene and Carola have at all levels. Both of them have been world champion at ladies. They've both been European champion with the ladies. Irene has been world champion twice with mixed doubles, and she has, both Carol and Irene have represented Switzerland in the mixed event, the traditional rules, so 2 men and 2 ladies. So I really want to emphasize how much experience and how many thrown stones are out there between Irene and Carola, even though they're maybe not such familiar names to us. Irene typically plays, or her medals were won at 3rd position. And Carola typically, yeah, a front end or sometimes 3rd player. So we don't maybe know their names so well, but they've been there, done that. They've certainly got the shots to finish this game off. I don't mind if this game goes to an extra end, because after this game it's time for my bed to make sure that I'm up early tomorrow morning again. But if you still want to watch curling today, there is one more draw at 9 o'clock European, and that draw is against Team Hess from Switzerland. They will be playing Team Klima from the Czech Republic.
Sie will in 12 Fuß rüberlaufen mit dem Shooter. Aber mit diesem sie will 3 machen. Nicht in die Mitte. Ja, das 8. Ja. Am besten Fall noch im
Now wanting to do something about that hidden red. And I think actually if they get the angle right, I think they can maybe play on both of these reds. She's pretty close, so definitely gets that red and rolls herself in. Yeah, pretty nice effort. So Todsek won't want that yellow hanging around, and now Irene will be hoping that in the process of bringing that, knocking that yellow out, that the red stone will also roll itself out and she'll have a free hit at that red in the centre. So of course Totsen will be trying to do the opposite. He does want to move that yellow, but he wants to keep this red in play. Important that this red stays in. So it certainly is. But those reds definitely makeable. They're quite close together. And no risk to trying this double. Again, at the moment, Team Shuri, they're going to have to draw for one with their last stone anyway. So they may as well have a go at this double, still give themselves a chance to blank the end and hold on to last stone for the 8th end. This is also a good idea to try to roll that yellow in front of the red, try to give that yellow some protection. It doesn't quite make it, but it's definitely close enough to that red that if 16's not accurate with his throw, that could come into play. Again, important after this shot is that red are lying 2. I've no doubt he'll get rid of the yellow, but the important part is he has to be lying 2 red after this stone. If his red also rolls out, then Irene will say thank you very much, remove that red and play for the blank. So important is that this red hangs around. The lady's still looking cheerful. I think I rarely see Irene play without a smile.
Yep. Ganzer Weg. Ganzer Weg.
So controlled weight coming up here from red. And they are going to need to sweep that because, ooh, that was just about to catch the back red there. So as you were, this looks quite a similar situation. Double is definitely possible, or you could do the hit and roll in front of the back red, rolling off this front red and rolling your yellow in front of the red behind. The problem with that is that each hit that stone is getting closer and closer to the front of the house, and at some point stops being very useful. I think it maybe became clear a little bit too late in this end. As I said, I might have rather seen Irene try to use those corner guards rather than try to rip them off. But I think now they realise they may as well try to go for 2 or for the blank. So the attempt at going for the blank not working out there. They've got one more crack at it, and 16 also has one more stone coming. So 2 stones to come in the 7th end of our featured game here. And same drill. Important is that 16 Totsek needs to be lying 2 stones at the end of this. And he doesn't want to give Irene Shorey a straightforward double that she could then get the blank end. They really want Irene's team to have to score this end. And I think that was, for me, maybe a bit of a tactical mistake there. I think maybe when they had those corner guards up, they maybe should have tried to go ahead and use them. Even if they had set out to maybe blank this end initially, because they're going to have either a tricky shot for a blank or they may be forced to score one.
Linie ist gut.
And if you're keeping eyes on the score to the left of us, you will see that Team Traub are really sticking at their task, and they are ahead of Team Adine, and their score is 6-5 after 6 ends. So that speaks well for the young Traub team. Not intimidated by perennial world champions Niklas Edin. Good for them, giving it a really strong fight over there. And back here in our featured game, those stones are closer together than the boys would have wanted, so there's definitely a chance for a double takeout here to finally blank the end, which I think Irene was going for all along. So yes, no sweeping is often good, but no, with Carol's face, she doesn't like it. Oh. That just seemed to drift wide as she let it go. I don't know if she was a little bit wide releasing it, but didn't have enough curl to do what they wanted, so that's 1 red on the board there. That was the risk with going for the double, that if you got it wrong, you could end up losing 1. So not panic stations yet. The score is 6-4, and Irene's team have to get 2 points in this 8th end at least to take it to an extra end. And I hope they take confidence, and I hope they take inspiration from Team Hasselborg's game this morning. They needed 2 in their final end to take it to an extra end, and they only got a 3 and won it. So no reason why this team can't follow that example. It's been a really seesaw kind of game here. I wouldn't say it's quite been an even game. I would say Irene's team were really on top of the game in the middle there, in ends 3, 4, 5. And Todzek's team have really come back now in these past couple of ends. And they've been the more consistent there, just for the past 2 ends there. So, 8th end. Will it be our final end of this game? First stone coming from lead thrower Dominic Grindel. The Germans will want no stones out front. Guards are only going to help Team Shuri. And very nice start there from Dominic Grindel. Straight to the 4-foot. Irene has no choice. She needs to have a few guards out front to try to make 2. They do have last shot in this final end. Definitely doable that they can make 2 points here. You can see they had that really well worked 2 in the 4th end, and they will be wanting more of the same here. We have a question from Matilda in the chat. Are these matches not time restricted? So not really, I guess, is your answer, Matilda. So certainly we don't have anyone with a clock on the games, and that's really a matter of resource to have an additional 4 volunteers to time each game. And that's very tiring. I've done that once or twice, but I must admit I don't enjoy that job very much because it's extremely tiring, and you don't even really get to watch the game, to be honest, because you're so concentrating on getting the timing right. So that's really just a matter of resource. We don't have an additional 4 volunteers, and probably more who would be needed to cover each draw for clocks. I think if any team is being particularly slow, then the umpire can go out and tell them to hurry up a bit. And if they're still dragging their heels, then the umpire can go down and tell them, okay, you've got 30 seconds to throw a stone or it's coming off. But I don't think any of these teams are being particularly slow or particularly tardy. I think we just have a very tight schedule. It's hard to fit in 6 draws in one day, especially preparing the ice in between the draws as well. So no need to go crazy aggressive here. No need to throw a second corner guard. Irene needs 2 points here to force the game to an extra end. So she doesn't need to throw 2 corner guards. And I think that was the right choice to try to play towards that red, but it's just over curled. But they should have another chance at it. 5 rock free guard zone now, so 610 cannot start removing guards yet.
Was will man hier hinlegen? Lass sie halb offen lassen, schieben immer auf.
Yeah, we need to focus here, German boys, because
Ja, ja, aber was bringt der hinten ab?
all you need is that Irene's team don't score 2.
Ja, nee.
If Irene has a shot for 1, you're quite happy about that.
Halb offen lassen.
And
Yeah.
I think that was a good idea to ask Mark's opinion on this. I think that's absolutely the best idea. Let's keep piling into the centre.
Dann schiebt sie immer.
Make sure that even to get 1 point is looking difficult for Irene's team.
Von 8 wenn's.
We have 1 result for you already,
Ja, es hat mal gut
even though they had that
Müssen wir
nice
so 2er oder 3er.
bit of a comeback in the 6th end. Team Magnusson from Sweden.
Ja, da.
Von 8.
Team De Cruz scored 1 in the 7th end, making the score 9-4. And yeah, I don't think Team Magnusson were going to get a 5 from Team De Cruz in that 8th end. So handshakes and fist bumps all round. And another handy win for the De Cruz rink. They are looking very, very comfortable out there from today's play.
Wil je nou maar dagelijks hebben?
We have 3 games still out there.
Met snassen.
Team Traub are leading
Ja, ik heb waarschijnlijk nooit.
the 4-time champion team and 5-time world champion himself, Niklas Edin, 6-5. They are in their 7th end. And from my angle, it looks like Team Traub, they're not letting up here, and they are lying 2 in this 7th end at the moment against Edin, although Niklas's team have the last stone in the 7th end.
Hang acht, bremsen.
And on the other side
Bremsen, ja.
of our featured game, we have the match between Team Pfister and Team Walstadt. And a lot of stones in play and a lot of huge shots and stones squirting all over the place. And that's still a score of 5-3 to the Norwegians. As we said, that big score of 3 in the first end really helping them out. They don't mind just picking up ones when they've got the last stone now. Although Team Pfister did manage a steal in the 5th end, but 5-3 in the 7th end to
Ja, genau.
Team
Sind
Walstadt.
beide weg. So rumsetzen ist nur einer weg. Ha?
Also, was machen wir dann?
Mit welchem liegen wir da noch? Achso. Okay. Ich finde halt hier sind halt volle Controls so. Was schaffst du mit denen? Mit denen kannst du den hier maximal hierher schieben, oder?
Ja. Ja.
Wir können den schon auch abspielen. Das kann das halt einfach zu eng zu sein und dann ein eigenes Zeug dazu
Und
tun.
der wirklich mal weggehen. Ja, genau. Ja, finde ich
Was?
gut. Finde ich einen guten Plan.
Wir gehen voll auf Stil im Prinzip.
Much discussion in Team Todzek.
Ja, ja klar, aber was hat sie denn so rum? Mit hinten 4 Länge, den hierher.
Again, I feel like they may be overthinking this actually, Team Todzek. What they need to do is lose fewer than 2.
Aber ich würde auch noch da machen. Richtig.
And that could be losing 1 point. That could be a blank end, although I don't see that happening. That could be getting 1 point for themselves. But they're sitting pretty nicely, in my opinion.
Gut, weil dann bleiben die vorderen Roten immer da, wo sie liegen.
I hope they don't overthink this. They don't want to think themselves round in circles. Just keep it simple, boys, and you're in a quite strong position here.
Ja, die müssen wir fast so machen, für aufzutun. Die müssen wir so auftun. Dann ist fast gescheiter.
Ja.
Ja, aber... Weißt du, dann haben wir nachher
Zwei.
die Seite frei, haben vorne frei und wir haben hier noch einen Garten. Ja.
A lot of thinking going on
Ich glaube, das ist nicht so.
on sheet 1 over there, the 7th end of the game between Traub and Edin.
Ich glaube nachher einfach, dass der hier...
Edin still facing 2 Traub shots in the 7th end,
Aber ja, weißt du, das vor einfach die
and
zwei
a lot of hands on hips and looking at the stones. And Edin will not want to give up the hammer for getting just 1 point. He will not want scores level. And Traub has the hammer in the 8th end. And I think they're looking at
so nicht weg und mach so dran gehen.
any way that they could avoid that outcome.
Was meinst du?
Back here in our featured game, I think that was exactly the right shot for Sixten Todsek to call. You can see, yeah, Irene's really having to look at this now. Remember,
Ja.
they need 2 points just to keep this game going. If they only needed 1 point, I think they would still have a nice chance of making 1. But it's looking difficult to make 2. Good to see that Irene's still cheerful.
Ich glaube, es ist schon genug. Ich glaube, wir haben
Irene typically plays with a smile on her face. Thank you.
Weil dann können wir nachher nicht...
Für den eigenen.
Weil dann können wir nachher... Also, dann nimmt er den weg, oder was meinst du? Welchen nimmt er weg?
Yeah, this is a difficult decision. If you play towards the forefoot, if you play towards the
Dann
house,
liegen wir schon zweimal.
you can do that. But if I was Germany, I would just continue to throw guard after guard. I think, yeah, what a tricky shot here. They need some protection out front because they need to try to get 2 points here, and they're very unlikely to get that without guards out front. But at the moment, the guards are really blocking them from building anything. So very difficult decision here.
Wenn ihr drei dabei seid, wenn ihr drei dabei seid,
If you have a good idea in the chat, if you're watching,
dass der wirklich da hier hinten ist, also dass der
we love to hear it. Do go ahead and share what you would do in this situation. Really difficult choice here now for Irene's team.
Mara, was findest du?
Das Problem finde ich dann, wenn wir dort fein ankommen, können wir die wahrscheinlich vorne nachher
They
nicht mehr
don't really
nehmen.
want to have to remove guards, but I'm not sure I see another option at the moment. Ja.
2030 wäre Start gewesen. Dass er das Eis gemacht hat, ist 2015 wahrscheinlich. Also wir fertig sind, wäre das Eis.
Yeah, I think they have no choice here. When you need 2, you really don't want to have to use up a stone to make a peel like this, but yeah, I think that was 4 really well placed first stones from the German team, and yeah, I think they need to give themselves a chance, otherwise they're just going to get locked out. So Matilda, don't apologise for asking a question. We welcome all questions. If you have a question in the chat, don't feel shy. If you're wondering about something, I'm sure other folks are too. So go ahead and ask. That is a nice result, yep. Good shot there from Lara. She said a nice consistent game. Again, I don't think you could have done a lot more with that shot.
Okay.
The problem is really those 2 reds
Ja, dann hast halt einen
just sitting on top of the forefoot, and they need to give themselves a chance to do something about them. So I think that was really the only call, and I think Lara played that very well.
Ja, die hat sie. Können wir so spielen? Ja. Ja. Bleiben wir am Roten hängen, oder? Bleiben wir am Roten hängen dann.
Irene's team coming into this game with 1 win and 1 loss. Sixten's team coming in with
Ja.
2 losses today. So both teams, important point for both teams out there. I think if Todsek loses this one, they do have games tomorrow, but I think their competition is really finished if they can't get a point here.
Yep.
And if Irene's team
Sauber.
want to make playoffs, then important that they get this point. That's okay. They're just playing the scoreboard a little bit and thinking, okay, no yellows is no points. And we do have that one yellow, but it's behind T, so unlikely to help in the end. Complicated way to get 2 points from here, though. So good idea to make sure we're doing the right thing. Let's make sure all the team is aligned. Let's make sure we've discussed the possibilities. Make sure we're going for the best option.
Also hier schaut am besten ist, wenn wir so draufgehen können.
They can definitely make 2 points still, Irene's team at this end. But it's quite a hard path from here, so essential to make sure they're going for the right shot and make sure they've looked at all the possibilities. This is the question, yeah. Do you want to try to bring that back yellow into play, even though it's behind T? Maybe take a bit of a risk that the German team will miss something. Again, for Irene's team to make 2 points at this end, they need another mistake from Sixten Todzek's team anyway. So if Todzek just calls the shots and makes them from here, then Irene should only ever be able to score 1 at this end. They need one more mistake from the Germans here. But they do also need to start getting some yellows in play. They do still have that nice yellow corner guard. They may be able to bring that into play. Tough stuff. This sounds promising. Yes, no sweeping. Yeah, I think that's pretty nice. Again, not interested really in getting those red stones out of play. They're happy to keep stones in play, Irene's team. The more stones in play, the more likely the Germans are to catch a wrong angle and end up with a stone in the wrong place. So they just need to start getting some yellows to move around, to keep in play. And Team Todzek has to do the opposite. So they want to move this yellow. If they're very fancy, I think they could even get the pair of them. I'm not quite sure if the angle's there. But definitely they want to remove this yellow that's ahead of T. And I imagine they don't mind if they roll this red out. And what they have done is, I think, once and for all cancelled that back yellow, so that's never coming back into play from there. Oof, life's not getting any easier for the ladies out there. Still need to try to get 2 from here, with all those red stones in the way. So again, they'll be playing a gentle weight. They need this yellow to hang around. They do want to move that red on the top of the forefoot, so the one right on the centre line. But they need this yellow to hang around as well. If you're cheering for our guest ladies teams in the competition this weekend, so we have Team Shori that we're watching just now, and we also have Team Hasselborg
Schneller.
in the other half of the draw. Then neither of those teams are featuring in the final draw this evening. So this is Team Shory's final game today, and Team Hasselborg has a bye for the 9 o'clock draw. Ooh. Good try, Carol, but
Genau wie meiner.
life's not getting any easier out there.
Control ab meiner, aber das hält das schon, der Domi.
Golly. Yeah, a bit of a sigh of frustration from Irene's team there. They are absolutely trying their hardest to work a 2 out of this. So Matilda says in the chat that it could be a bit tight to get a game going at 9, and yes, we would need some sort of time machine to get that going properly.
Yep.
But all 3 games out there on their 8th end, all of them looking potentially like they could have an extra end. That's all 610 had to do, is just keep making sure there's no yellows. If he does that once more, that will be the game. So Irene has to make sure. Looks like she just threw her gripper at poor old Mark Muskatovic, but I'm sure not on purpose. So Irene has to make sure that this yellow can stick around after this shot and give herself the chance to have a shot for her last stone to try to get to. In the game on sheet 1, all of that collaboration paid off for Niklas Edin's team, and they did pick up 2 in that 7th end. I didn't see how they did it actually, because I was looking at our game, but yeah, they came up with a way to get 2 points back. So the score going into the final end, there you can see it just behind us on the left there. The score is 7-6 to Edin. And they've just been given a big help there, because Team Traub has just thrown a stone too far through the back. And I think they are now running out of chances, but yeah, they surely still have a chance for 1 to take it to an extra end. And our featured game here, really nice try from Irene. That was such a difficult shot to get it right, but it just bounced off. She needed that yellow to not bounce off. She needed to have that red behind it. And I don't see 610 Tutzig having too much trouble with this. Just keeping it clean all the way. But yeah, no trouble there. And that's the game. I think that, yeah, mathematically you could have a quintuple takeout, but we love to see it, Irene. I'm not sure I've seen even Niklas Edin or Bemar Schwartz throw a quintuple takeout. But pretty low risk, really. the game's gone already. I'm not even sure what ice Carol is going to try. So don't hold back, Irene. Get on the end of this as hard as you can. There, big smile from Irene. May as well give it a try. She gives a massive shove. Stephanie not even trying to sweep that. So why not give it a go? But yeah, that was well closed out there by Totsek's team. That will be, I think that may be what, 4 in the final end for Todsek, and certainly all of us watching know that that was an incredibly close game, and that big 4 at the end certainly doesn't tell the story of the game. Irene's team worked so hard to try to give themselves a chance to make 2. But really fun game for us to watch. I think Todsek team probably just about edged it for me. As I said, it was the consistency was going backwards and forwards for me a little bit in that game. I think both teams had times where they were really strong and consistent, and then other ends where they were a wee bit looser with their shots. So what we're watching now is, again, nothing to do with that last game just played. That was definitely won by Todsek. This is the last stone draw for the next end, sorry, for the next game. And for these teams, that will be tomorrow morning. And the 2 other games still out there, they're drawing to a close as well. They're both in their 8th end. When I say they're drawing to a close, one of them has got extra end written all over it currently. And that is Niklas Edin's game. The Traub team putting up a big fight over there on rink 1. They're lying 1 at the moment, but still quite a few stones to come. Looks like 4 stones to come in that game. Oscar Eriksson just playing his final shot for that 8th end. And I can't quite see from my angle, but I think it looks like it worked out pretty well. On sheet 3, we have the Norwegian team, Team Valstad. We've been practicing all day our Norwegian names. They are lying a nice 2 points at the moment. And they have last shot. And they don't need to play it because that's just overthrown there from Mark Vista. And that's a handy win. They'll be very happy with that team, Valstad. They struggled a bit against De Cruz at the lunchtime draw. So they'll be very happy to get that win under their belt for this evening. A great effort from Team Pfister. All the way to the final stones of the 8th end. And they too will stay out and do last stone draw for tomorrow morning's game. That leaves us with 1 game still playing. We have, oh, I miscounted. We have 5 shots to come, including this one. So this is the 2nd stone of 3rd player in Team Traub. And now I can see the shot that was played by Oscar Eriksson, and it is a very nice shot. It's just in front of the tee line. Ooh, but super shot. You may be able to hear some clapping behind me. The Team Traub, they played a lovely gentle weight up to it and bounced it out. So Team Traub now lying 2 actually. So this is the only game that you guys at home can't see, unfortunately, is on rink 1. We're always following the game on rink 2, and the static cam is always following the games on rinks 3 and 4, so this is the only one that I have to describe for you. Four stones to come then in the last game of our early evening draw today. First stone for Niklas Edin in this 8th end. Team Traub have final stone. They need 1 point to take it to an extra end. Next on sheet 1 are teams Schneider and Team Schwaller. They will not be pleased if this goes to an extra end, as we're a little bit behind schedule already. So they will be cheering for anyone to win. Niklas Edin with his first stone there, moving that dangerous yellow from Team Traub that was on the top of the forefoot. But really nice opportunity here for Team Traub to throw a hit and roll, controlled rate, hit and roll, and they have a lot of cover if they get the roll right, if they get the roll correct, that's to say. They have a really good opportunity to really bury a yellow and make it quite hard for Edin to avoid an extra end, and for teams Schneider and Schwaller to have a bit of a late night, because I fancy that could be a long one as well. Team Schwaller, the current European silver medalists, and Team Schneider, very much an up-and-coming Swiss team. Very difficult to beat Team Schneider. They're what my people in Scotland we would call a canny team. That means they're clever. You know, they play the right shots. They really get to grips with the ice. They're difficult to beat. So first shot here from Team Traub, and they've only made it. I'm not sure if they've rolled quite enough, but they certainly rolled in the right direction. And they are again lying 2 points. So 2 stones to come on rink 1. Oh, I'm very excited to watch these 2 stones. Edin needs all of his championship brain on this one. This has to be a good shot, or they could even lose the game. We need a champion shot here, Niklas. The ice crew just getting the other 3 sheets prepared. No reason why they can't get on and get started. John says, what time does Homan play? Lols. And not in this tournament, John, but we do have the Olympic champions, so hopefully that will make up for it a little bit. Now, last stone here in the 8th end for Niklas Edin. Traub are lying 2, and they've got a stone to come, so we need a champion shot here. It's a screamer. He's going for the double. He makes the double in fine style. But Traub still has a stone to come. The situation is Team Edin, they are lying 3 points, but all 3 of them are biting the 12-foot. If Team Traub can get this stone fully in the 8-foot, we will go to an extra end, but not to take away that was a champion shot from Niklas Edin. They could have lost the game on that shot, or, well, all but lost the game on that shot, so that was really a champion's throw from Edin there. Indeed, Michaela, that would be very cool if Freddie Lindberg was videoing that as well. He looks like he's got his camera set up. I can just about see from here. And maybe he would indeed put that on Instagram as well. That's a a really nice shot to watch. Cleared out all the trouble, but it looks like Traub's played a nice shot. His sweepers are pretty happy with it. They're just making sure at the end here, but yeah, no trouble at all. 4-foot draw, 1 point please. And a late night for teams Schneider and Schwaller, who are not getting on the ice anytime soon. John asks if we can tilt the camera over there. Yeah, it must be very frustrating, yes, trying to picture the scene with only me to describe it for you. Apologies for that. That's the only sheet that we can't see. And I've no doubt that if we could see that sheet, we would see teams Schwaller and Schneider with steam coming out of their ears and potentially going back down to the locker room for another 20 minutes so that they don't get cold waiting. So Michaela asks, can we hang around for the extra end? I will need to check with our technical chief over here, Michaela, because we do need to switch over to the next stream of the next game on sheet 2, which hasn't begun yet. It looks like the ice is still being prepared, so we may just about have time to hang around here for the extra end. Team Traub started off this extra end with a draw to the centre, a guard to the centre, and Team Irene are trying the tick shot to move that stone off the centre line, but not out of play. They look pretty happy with it. And he's got it. And as a party piece, he's rolled himself out as well. So that stone from Traub now very much not even a corner guard, it's a wee bit wider even than that. And no Swedish stones in play. 14 out of 10 for that shot. There you can just about see on rink 1 there on our left of our screen, you can just about see the people throwing. But indeed, Matilda makes a good point. You know you're a fan when you watch an empty camera just to listen to curling. I think, yeah, curling would not be a good radio sport, would it? I think that would be not much fun to listen to. I think everybody would get quite a headache within a short time. Same drill from Team Traub. They've thrown up exactly the same shot. And same drill from Team Irene. They are going for exactly the same tick. He certainly caught the angle, and oh, he's done it again. Oh no, he hasn't. He didn't quite get his own stone to roll out there, so I think only 13 out of 10 for that shot, but the whole 8 foot is wide open after those 4 lead stones. So just exemplary play from Christopher Sundgren there. We can hardly overstate how important lead stones are, and particularly them if you have someone who can clear the 8 foot with a tick shot. Goodness me, that's impressive stuff. So Iceman still working. You can see the Ice King out there on sheet 2, getting ready for our next stream. So another tight guard from Team Traub. They've got no choice but to persist with this. If they're going to steal this extra end, they don't have last shot, and if they're going to steal it, they need a mistake from Irene's team, so they may as well just keep plugging away with throwing up guards, hope to try to get a bad angle or catch a stone on the way through or something, but no mistake from Rasmus Vrannat. Just cleanly removing that guard, and I fancy we will see this 5 more times, and then Niklas Edin will draw for the game. Golly, that was nearly a hog stone from Team 12. They've dropped it just over the hog line, but actually good sweep. They've got it further than I thought they might. But same call from Edin anyway. I don't see big hitting Rasmus Vrana making a mistake here. So he's watching his stone, but yeah, he's already kind of wandering off to the side, knowing that he's made that one really nicely. And it's such a pity we can't see this, because this is the perfect way to play an extra end so far from Team Edin. You get 2 perfect tick shots. Clear the guard, clear the guard, clear the guard. At some point, I think probably with his last stone, young Monsieur Traub will have to go around one of those corner guards and just force Edin to at least make the 8 foot. But they're being smart about it. They're always putting that stone, the guard, just over the hog line, because there are still stones in play on the wings, and if Edin's team gets the angle wrong, they're hoping that they might just catch one of those guards, the winger guards, on the way through and maybe spin something into the house. But not at this pace, they're not going to. This is a pile driver coming from Oscar Eriksson, and nothing hanging around after that. Oh, I'm glad everybody seems happy that we can at least listen to the game. Maybe radio curling could take off after all. At least there's nothing very complicated for me to describe, because nobody's made a mistake so far. So I could at least sort of finish off Niklas Edin's game and then say goodnight and leave everyone to watch. Okay, so you can see that the teams are out on sheet 2, and we're going to have to switch over to that. So if you want to know the end of Edin's result, I'm going to stay up late, past my bedtime, to look at the last few stones of that. But let's all jump over to the next stream, which is Team Hess against Team Klima. So see you over there. Bye for now.